If you're thinking about selling your home in Arkansas, there's one question that keeps every seller up at night. How much is this actually going to cost me? And I'm not just talking about the real estate commission. I'm talking about everything as a whole, the closing costs, the title fees, the repairs, the staging, the moving trucks, everything. Because here's what most people don't realize. The average Arkansas seller spends somewhere between 8 and 10% of their home sale price on selling costs. On a $250,000 home, that could be $20,000 to $25,000 that walks out the door as moving expenses. But here's the good news. When you know exactly where your money is going, you can actually control how much of it you keep. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you today. Hey, I'm Amanda Galbraith, and I'm the principal broker and owner of Arkansas Property Management and Real Estate. I've been serving Central Arkansas for a little over 16 years, and I've helped hundreds of families sell their homes, and I see these costs trip people up every single time. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through every single cost of selling a home in Arkansas. I'll show you what's negotiable, what's not negotiable, and exactly how to keep more of that hard-earned money in your pocket. So if you find this helpful, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button down below. I put out videos like this every week to help Arkansas homeowners make smart real estate decisions. So, all right, here we go. Let's break it down for you. Before we get into the details, let me give you the bigger picture. When you sell a home in Arkansas, your costs fall into 5 main categories. So number one, the real estate agent commissions. This is by far the biggest expense, and we'll spend the most time on it today. Number two is closing costs and fees. These are the title fees, transfer taxes, other charges that happen at the actual closing table. Number three is home preparation and repairs, what you spend to get your home market ready. Number four, staging and marketing, how your home gets presented to buyers. 5, moving and miscellaneous costs, the stuff people forget to budget for. I'm going to go through each one, give you the actual dollar amounts for Arkansas, and share some insider tips for keeping those numbers as low as absolutely possible. Sound good? Let's start with the biggest one. So let's talk about agent commissions, because this is where the most money goes, and it's also where the most confusion lives, especially since the rules changed. So in Arkansas, the average total real estate commission is around 6% of your home sale price, but that's 100% negotiable. So on a $250,000 home, that's roughly $14,000 to $15,000. Now, let's talk about what's changed. So in August of 24, the National Association of Realtors settled a major lawsuit that changed how commissions work. Before that settlement, the listing agent would typically collect the full commission from the seller and split it with the buyer's agent. It's not exactly how it works anymore. Today, buyers are required to sign a buyer agency agreement with their own agent and negotiate that agent fee separately. So technically, as a seller, you're only obligated to pay the listing agent commission. That's typically a portion of that 6 or so percent. Just depends on what you've negotiated. But, and this is really, really important, most sellers still choose to offer compensation to the buyer's agent and pay it. Why? Because it makes your home more attractive to buyers. The buyer has to come out of their pocket to pay the commission on top of their down payment and their closing costs. It's a much harder pill to swallow, and it can mean fewer showings and lower offers on your actually home. So think about it this way. If you're a buyer looking at 2 similar homes, and one of them, the seller is covering your agent's fees, and the other one, you have to pay that out of pocket, which one are you going to choose to make the offer on? So my recommendation is to work with your listing agent to determine a competitive commission strategy for your specific market. In hot markets, you may have more flexibility, but in areas with more inventory, offering a buyer's agent compensation really helps you stand out. And here's a tip that I always share with my sellers. Don't choose your agent based on who charges the lowest commission. Choose based on who's going to net you the most money. And a great agent with a strong marketing plan, professional photography, skilled negotiation will often get you tens of thousands more than what you saved on a discounted commission broker. My listings sell 35% faster than the market, and that's not by accident. So let's move on to closing costs. These are the fees you pay at the actual closing table to legally transfer the ownership of your home to the buyer. And in Arkansas, seller closing costs average about 3 to 3.5% of the sales price. So let's break those down one by one as to what they actually are. So you've got transfer tax. Arkansas charges a real property transfer tax of $3.30 for every $1,000 of the sales price. So again, $250,000 house, it's about $825, and it's set by the state. You don't get to negotiate that with the state of Arkansas. Title insurance and title services. Title insurance protects the buyer against any legal claims on the property. In Arkansas, the seller typically pays for the owner's title insurance policy. The title search and title services together will bring you somewhere between $815, depending on the title company and the complexity of the transaction. That one's a little harder to nail down. Prorated property taxes. You'll owe property taxes for the portion of the year you own the home. If you close in June, you're paying for January through June. Pulaski County has some of the highest property tax rates in the state at about 0.81%. So this can add up on a $250,000 home. It's about $170 per month, give or take. Depends on where the house is, where you live. These are fees paid to the county to officially record the deed transfer. In Arkansas, this is usually around $25 to $50. Stay small, but it's there. Attorney's fees. So Arkansas doesn't require an attorney to close a real estate transaction. However, some sellers choose to hire one, especially for some really complex situations, estate sales, divorces, situations with liens. If you choose to use an attorney, expect to pay $300 to $750, usually per hour. HOA transfer fees. If your home is in a neighborhood with a homeowners association, many of them are, there's typically a transfer fee. And this is usually around $100 to $250 to transfer the membership to the new owner. Just depends on the neighborhood. Buyer incentives and seller concessions. This is the one that catches sellers off guard. It's common in Arkansas for sellers to contribute toward the buyer's closing costs to help close the deal. The average comes out to about 2% of the sales price, which on our $250,000 example is about $5,000. This is highly negotiable. It depends on market conditions, and your agent really will advise you there on what's appropriate for you to offer. So when you add all of that up, the transfer tax, the title fees, prorated taxes, recording fees, potential buyer concessions, you're typically looking at somewhere between $7,000 and $12,000 on an average Central Arkansas home. And here's a pro tip. Ask your agent for a seller net sheet before you ever list your house. A good net sheet shows you exactly what you'll walk away with after those costs are accounted for. I prepare these for all of my sellers, and honestly, it's one of the most valuable documents really in the process. So there's no surprises at the closing table. Okay, this is the category where I see the biggest range in what sellers spend. Some sellers put $500 into their house before listing, and others invest $10,000, $15,000, and even $20,000. And the right answer depends entirely on your specific home and the local market conditions. This is different for everybody. But here's the general rule I tell my clients. Every dollar you spend on preparation should return at least $2 to $3 at the closing table. If it doesn't meet that threshold, we skip it. So let's talk about the must-do repairs. First, let's talk about repairs that are essentially non-negotiable. These are the things that will come up on a home inspection and could kill your deal or result in major price reduction. Roof, HVAC, plumbing leaks, electrical concerns, or foundation cracks. If your roof is falling, you need to address that before the listing because a buyer's going to ask for it anyway, and they'll usually just ask for more than it would cost for you to just fix it yourself. Here in our area, a new roof runs about $6,000 to $12,000, obviously depending on the size of the home, and an HVAC replacement can be between $4,000 and $8,000. And these feel like big numbers, but a home with a new roof and HVAC will sell faster and for more money. Let's talk about cosmetic updates that pay off. These are the ones that give you the best bang for your buck. And in our market, the top three are paint, lighting, and landscaping. A full interior paint job in a neutral modern color typically costs $2,000 to $4,000 for a 1,500, 2,000 square foot house. And it is hands down one of the best investments you can make. Nothing makes a home feel fresher and more move-in ready than clean, consistent paint. Updated light fixtures. You can swap out dated brass fixtures for modern ones for $50 to $100 each. And most homes have 10 to 15. So we're talking about $500 to $1,500 for a transformation that completely changes the feel of that house. And curb appeal. You only get one time to make a first impression. Mulch, trim bushes, pressure washing the driveway and walkways, maybe some seasonal flowers. For $500 to $1,000, you can make your home's first impression go from forgettable to fantastic. Remember, buyers make up their mind in the first 7 seconds of seeing your home. A pre-listing inspection. One more thing I want to mention here. Consider getting a pre-listing home inspection. It costs $300, $400, $500 sometimes, and it lets you identify and fix issues before buyers find them. This puts you in the driver's seat during negotiations instead of scrambling after a buyer's inspection comes back with surprises. So overall, I tell my sellers to budget around $5,000 to $7,000 for home preparation on an average home here in Central Arkansas. Some of that might be sweat equity if you're handy, and some may be hired out to local professionals. So next, let's talk about staging and marketing. And I'm going to be really transparent here. This is where most agents just put your home on the MLS and cross their fingers and hope for the best. It's not what we do, and that's not what you should accept, actually. Professional staging. Staging your home is one of the most impactful things you can do. According to the National Association of Realtors, stage homes sell up to 73% faster and for 5 to 10% more than non-staged homes. Now, I actually own a portion of a staging company called Staging to Sold, and my real estate clients get preferred pricing. Full staging for a vacant home really just depends on the size. There's a lot of factors here. If it's occupied, we do a consult and work with your existing stuff, which brings the cost way down. So it just depends on what you have. That's hard to put a price point exactly on that. There's lots of factors there. Even if you're not working with me, make sure your agent has a staging plan. An empty home feels cold. A cluttered home feels small. A properly staged home feels like the place buyers want to live in. They can see themselves there. Professional photography is a non-negotiable. Video is a non-negotiable. 87% of buyers start their home search online, and photos and video are the first thing they see. Drone photography is also another non-negotiable. At my brokerage, drone shots, video walkthroughs, professional photography are all included in our marketing package for every listing. It's not an add-on, it's the standard, because your home deserves and has to be seen at its absolute best in order for us to get it sold quickly for you. Then there's the marketing portion itself. So where is your listing being promoted? A great agent markets your home on social media, YouTube, email campaigns, their website, targeted digital ads, targeted print ads. It's all part of the service you're paying for with your commission. So just make sure that whoever you hire is doing those things. So ask them, what is your marketing plan? Where will you promote my home? Can I see some examples? If they can't answer those questions, it's probably a red flag for you to think about maybe interviewing someone else. All right, we're almost done here. Let's cover the costs people always forget to budget for. The first one is moving costs. So if you're moving locally here in the area, expect to pay a couple of $1,000s for professional movers. If you're relocating out of state, that number really can jump to thousands upon thousands of dollars, and it all depends on the distance, how much stuff you have, lots of factors there. The mortgage payoff. Obviously, when you sell, your existing mortgage gets paid off at closing. Make sure you know what that payoff is. The full payoff, including any accrued interest up to the closing date, and your lender can provide you with all of that. A home warranty. Some sellers offer a home warranty to the buyer as an incentive, and this typically costs anywhere from about $400 to $750 for a one-year plan, covers major systems, appliances, and gives buyers really a peace of mind. That's its purpose. Overlap costs. If you are buying and selling at the same time, think about overlap costs. Well, you need temporary housing, storage for your furniture, a short-term rental while you close on the new house. Those add up quickly, so you just need to have a plan and work on that with your agent so you know what that's going to cost you. So let's put it all together, come full circle on a $250,000 home here in our area in Central Arkansas. Here's a really rough estimate of what you're looking at. You've got commissions planned for $14,000 to $15,000. You've got closing costs and fees, which could be $7,000 to $12,000. Home prep and repairs, $5,000 to $7,000. Staging and marketing just depends on what you've got. I would say $0 to $3,000. Just depends on your agent. Moving and miscellaneous, again, really hard factors to nail down. $1,000 to $3,000. I would say grand total, you're looking at $25,000-ish on a $250,000 sale. So it's about 10% of your sales price. And again, this is all really dependent upon your individual home. Now, I know that sounds like a lot, but here's the thing. When you work with an experienced agent who prices your home correctly, markets it aggressively, negotiates skillfully, the return on that investment is significant. My clients consistently net more at closing because we plan for all of these things up front. And that brings me to the most important thing I can tell you today. The biggest cost of selling a home isn't the commission or the closing costs. It's pricing it wrong, marketing it poorly, or working with an agent who doesn't have a plan. That's what really costs you money. So if you're thinking about selling your home here in Central Arkansas, anywhere in between, I'd love to put together a free, no obligation seller net sheet for you. It'll show you exactly what your home could sell for, exactly what the cost will be, and exactly what you'll walk away with. Just visit our website at arproperty.com. Call me directly, 501-804-9942, and I'll include those links right down here in the description. If this video helped you understand what it really costs to sell a home in Arkansas, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And I put out new videos every week to help you make confident, informed real estate decisions. And drop a comment below telling me what part of the selling process are you most concerned about. I read every single comment and I would love to help. So thanks so much for watching. I'm Amanda Galbraith, your Central Arkansas real estate expert, and I'll see you in the next one.